Thank you so much, Rajneeshji. This is an honor to be presenting here today. So I, of course, do not have a presentation, but I'll go through my speech.
Right. Only request about 12 minutes.
Sure, I'll stick to it. Thank you. No, I understand. Thank you.
Okay.
So thank you so much again for this opportunity. So my, key takeaways, which I would like to give to the audience today is that, the recently released IPCC report has declared code red, which implies that the world is not on the track to deliver the climate change goals. Almost 75% of the greenhouse gas emissions do come from the sectors which are outside power sector. Now, given that when we talk about energy transitions and just transitions, when we look forward, the investments that we are looking at is somewhere around to the tune of about $25 trillion by 2050. Of that, about 20% or maybe around 10%, I'm so sorry, would be coming from the power sector. So there are a lot of cooperation required from the other sectors to help us all move towards the greener and cleaner future and to make energy transitions a success. Now, when we talk about it, that means that we have to decarbonize these other sectors. Most of them are hard to abate. How we can do that? One opportunity lies in green hydrogen. And I have been tuning into all the sessions since morning. It gives me a lot of encouragement that there are so many players now involved and looking forward to make this a success story. So when we talk about hard to abate sectors, industries, transport, etc., have a bigger role to play here. World Bank Group stands ready to partner with the countries, and we are looking forward to support the countries. Generally, our modus operandi is that we come upstream and we do some analytical pieces of work to understand what are the barriers, what are the mitigation measures, what kind of strategies one should have, what kind of ecosystem is required in terms of policy, regulatory approaches, etc. So far on green hydrogen, we have been engaged with almost 10 countries, actively engaged. India is one of them. And then another 10 countries where the discussions are in pipeline. For instance, when we talk about India, what we have been doing is that we have been looking at the current initiatives that have been taken so far in this sector, mapping the various barriers, coming up with the implementable recommendation strategies, picking up the priority sectors, doing a deeper dive in those sectors, looking at their value chain, and then trying to see that where the first investments could come in. And the bank, when we talk about the analytical piece of work, we generally then come in after that with an investment support. In these technologies, where we still are very nascent and where the commercial viability has not yet been established to the extent, what we try to do is that we try to bring the staple concession financing to our World Bank financing. What it does, it helps in reducing the cost, the upfront costs, which of course is the key in case of green hydrogen also. The same happened in the case of solar, and then in the case of batteries, and the story is still unfolding. And green hydrogen is another area where the dynamics are still much more at an exponential rate. So our financing generally, is there to support the initial investments. And this is where the modus operandi, what I was referring to, also comes into the picture. We come in with the initial investments with the public sector, projects. We try to establish the demonstration projects so that the lessons could be, learned from those. There could be success stories that could be established. Best practices from across the globe could be brought in. Once we have that success story in place, it brings more confidence to the investors, to the stakeholders. And that really helps in bringing in higher scale of commercial investments. So of course, as I spoke about that, about $25 trillion is what we are expecting by 2050 for energy transitions. No public sector entity, not a single multilateral bank could do that. Private sector and commercial investments are an important and a very integral stakeholder to this entire success story. So that is how the bank, when works with the public sector utilities, try to also bring the changes in the ecosystems, try to infuse the policy regulatory interventions. And that really helps in bringing the confidence. We absorb the first mover risks. Now, when we talk about it, we also then at a right time also can provide with the credit enhancement instruments. Now, those credit enhancement instruments, for instance, if we talk about solar sector, so we can say, for instance, come in the partial credit enhancement guarantee instruments. Similar kind of instruments could be devised depending on where the sector is and what kind of intervention is required depending on the scale of the risk. So this is how generally our interventions are formulated. Now, when I talk about the costs that Sunita just mentioned in her previous speech, 111, I think majority of the costs are coming from electricity, of course. In addition to it, I think what is important is Make in India. The more we scale up the investments in inputs or the equipment like electrolyzers, the better returns we are going to get on our commercial investments. So how we can unlock that Make in India is something that we should also try to achieve for. The cost reduction, another important ingredient is the taxation. How we can promote the initial investments in this technology, be it on its value chain or on the end product or in terms of the end user applications. I do not have any ready answers. We might have some, may not be all after we complete this analytical piece of work, but those are very important to be ingrained. The National Hydrogen Energy Mission that has been recently announced, as I understand, is going to touch upon all these aspects, which is going to be a cornerstone for the success and the replication and scale up of the technology in the country. Last but not the least, across the globe, we have seen more than 30 countries announcing the green hydrogen strategies. India is following the suit. The electrolyzer capacities that are being targeted is about 60 gigawatts by, in next couple of decades. And of that, almost half of it is going to come by 2035. Majority developments are happening in Australia and Europe, but I'm sure that Asia is going to catch up and India is going to be the torchbearer for them. I'm especially encouraged by the recent policy announcements that have been, recent pilots and the announcements which have been made by various public sector entities like NTPC, Indian Railways. Of course, IOCL has been the leader in this, as well as the private sector, such as Reliance. So that gives a very promising future to green hydrogen, not only globally, but also in India. The World Bank Group stands ready to support the country in promotion and scaling up, and to whatever extent we can, help this technology to grow further. Ultimate goal is to have a safer future, the cleaner future for our future generations.